Hello, my name is Alexandra Gutierrez, and today I'm going to be recording my first therapy session on receptive language. So the age group that this therapy lesson would benefit would be kindergarten or preschool through first or second grade, the early age group. We're going to be working on chunking, and this is just chunking and reinforcing chunking with the basic concept that I'm going to be focusing on farm animals as well as ocean animals. And here I have, let me go ahead and show you, I have made a poster of farm animals as well as ocean animals with examples of each farm animals and ocean animals. And this is really just the backdrop of the activity. What I have, so the way I would begin would be, main activity would be to classify different animals that belong to these different environments. And I would start with simple animals. For example, before I begin the activity, I'm going to start by describing the kinds of animals that are in the ocean animals. For example, if I say, if I am looking at the ocean animals and I point out that this animal lives in the ocean because it needs several things to live in the ocean. It needs fins, okay, and it needs a tail. And so the type of other animals that live in the ocean that need to live in this environment also need to have similarities to fish. So I have another fish here already set on the ocean that has fins and a tail, different fish with fins and a tail. And I have different kinds of animals also glued to the ocean that are different depending if I'm going to differentiate higher level or I'm just going to keep it basic. Also for the farm, I have the farm animals. I have the farm with some example of farm animals and what kinds of features each of those animals have, such as a horse inside a corral and a cow. And those animals we'll talk about as I begin the therapy session. So here I would begin simply by where the job or the main goal of the activity or the therapy is to use chunking. So chunking, I'm going to present several animals that have similarities that could live in the ocean. For example, I have a shark and other kinds of fish, goldfish and other kinds of fish, dolphins, that have similarities and that live in one of the two environments, either the ocean environment or the farm animals environment. And here we are. So I would start by showing a goldfish to the student and would say, well, what kind of features does this animal have? Do you see a tail? Do you see a fin? Do you see a type of certain body type that could be used for one of the two environments? And so the student's job is then to look at the environment of the ocean animals and really focus on whether this animal belongs here in this environment or if it belongs with the farm animal. And of course, I do have blue tape on the back of the card so that it doesn't damage the poster and they can come in and out and use as we please. So the student's job would be then to classify a second animal. Okay, this would be a dolphin, and they are labeled. It says dolphin. Okay, and if the job of the student is then to look at the animal and classify it, whether it is a farm animal or an ocean animal. Where most likely would this animal live? Okay, according to its features. Okay, I'm going to place it here for now. I have then a shark. Okay, and depending on the features of this animal, the student would need to classify it where it belongs. In this case, I'm just going to place it here. And And I have one more animal, a whale, that is also labeled. And the student needs to tell me where it would belong, whether this would belong with the ocean animals that look like this animal, or in the farm animals that look like the other ones. So the student would need to tell me where it would be classified. If the student happens to put it where the farm animal is, then we would go back and continue practicing this activity in the future so that we can practice it again and they can master this type of environment. I can also differentiate this activity by adding, for example, the ocean part, by adding other ocean animals that do not necessarily look like the typical ocean animal. For example, here's an octopus. And I would ask, have you seen this kind of animal? Where have you seen them? And where would you think they could live? By chunking these into different categories, the student could either put it here in the ocean or in the farm. But my aim would be to, of course, have them get it right. Here's something else I can differentiate this game with. I have a clam, as well as a starfish. So these are for either a little older students, or this is a different way that I can differentiate this activity. Okay? As far as the farm animals, I have a sheep, and of course these animals, I will point out the features. They have four legs. Okay? This one has 4 legs. It does not have a fin. Okay. This one has 2 legs, but does not have a fin. It does have a tail, though. So the student would really need to focus on those features to see if they're going to get it right. And here, I have a similar animal that has 4 legs. So these would then belong in the farm environment. Because all of these animals have similarities and have something in common. Here is a duck, and here is another animal. It does have a tail, but does this tail look like the one over here in the ocean side, or does it look like the one over here in the farm side? So that would be the student's job to go ahead and tell me the difference about that. And here I have just other random ocean animals, a seahorse and an eel. Depending on how familiar the student is with this vocabulary, then they would be able to get the answers right correctly. If not, with time we can practice again and again until we classify the ocean animals as well as the farm animals correctly.